The International Newsnet World Report is broadcast television in more than 20 million homes in America. We are non-commercial, non-profit, and we are viewer-supported. That is how we can bring you these kinds of stories and interviews 5 days a week. Keep INN broadcasting. Please go to our website, INNWorldReport.net, and contribute what you can. You can also email us at INNWorldReport@gmail.com. Thank you.
By December 2006, a statement accusing the Bush administration of distortion of science knowledge for partisan political ends had been signed by more than 10,000 scientists, including 52 Nobel laureates and 63 recipients of the National Medal of Science. Many of these scientists openly question the application of what I call Bush science to the collapse of the World Trade Towers. There has arisen, however, a catch-22, not only by administration scientists, but by the liberal press as well. This catch-22 is an example of perfect circular thinking. If you don't believe the government's explanation of what happened on 9/11, you must be a kook. And we don't debate kooks. Therefore, there will be no debate even when the conclusion directly contradicts the evidence. Bush science prevails by blocking debate and discrediting anyone who disagrees with it. The 9/11 community keeps the issue alive in websites, radio shows, and blogs. The science behind the events of 9/11 continues to be gathered and analyzed by the growing scientific community. By the beginning of 2005, questions were being asked by so many that the magazine Popular Mechanics, with ties to the Bush White House, released in March, 9/11 Debunking the Myths. And Popular Mechanics soon followed the article with a book of a similar title. Scientists within the 9/11 community answered back, but few heard them until now. This new book, Debunking 9/11 Debunking, is an encyclopedia, not only of what happened, but of direct contradictions and circular or unscientific analysis riddled throughout the official story. Its author, Dr. David Ray Griffin, now joins us from Santa Barbara, California. Welcome, Dr. Griffin.
Hi, Lanny. Glad to be with you.
First question, is the book widely available? Can people read it?
Yes, it's available in all good bookstores, of course, but if you can't find it in your local bookstore, you can get it at Amazon.com.
Dr. Griffin, one of the first things I noticed in the books, and I focused a lot on the collapse of the two towers, it's something we've looked at quite a bit here at INN, is that there is a phrase coined by the government called progressive collapse. Is this a scientific phrase? Where does it come from?
Well, it's very interesting because they portray the collapse of the Twin Towers as an instance of progressive collapse, as if there had been previous instances of these that were not based on explosives. But there have been no such instances, so it's a it's a propaganda term to make you think they've got a covering law here. This is an instance of a well-known phenomenon. It absolutely is not.
And you're saying there is no phenomenon called progressive collapse. It was made up just for the occasion.
Oh, sure, you can have a progressive collapse, but you have to use explosives to do it. It's never been caused by externally produced damage or fires or earthquakes or any other thing other than preset explosives.
MIT Professor Thomas Eagar kind of walks the line. He doesn't believe the official story that there was enough heat from the jet fuel fires to create structural damage enough to cause the buildings to collapse. Yet again, he signs off on the official story. He's one who has been somewhat willing to debate. What is his position, and how can people view that?
Well, his position is interesting. His was the theory that the 9/11 Commission used in endorsing the idea of the pancake collapse. But the official theory about the official explanation about the collapse of the Twin Towers was assigned to NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. And they have rejected that theory and come up with a new theory. Their theory requires that the steel in the core columns, those 47 massive columns in the core of each tower, were heated up to 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. And Eager had said, the fires really weren't very hot, and because you could tell because of all the black smoke, and so they surely weren't hotter than 12 to 1300 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's just the temperature of the fire. There's an enormous difference between the temperature of the fire and the temperature that any of the steel would have reached in a building like that. With all of that interconnected steel, it would have taken many dozens of hours at a very high temperature to heat up any of the steel to the point where it would even begin to lose strength. So I use in my new book, Debunking 9/11 Debunking, I use Eager, who is a genuine scientist, against the official theory, because they make claims, or they at least appear to make claims, that are vastly contradicted by the empirical evidence, including the evidence that their own scientists came up with.
Do either NIST or Professor Thomas Eager address the topic of, or the evidence of conservation of momentum? Essentially, this is a vertical model of something which is used in a horizontal model to explain car collisions. A smaller car representing the top part of the building is going at 60 or 70 miles an hour, crashes into a truck, a giant truck, representing the lower part of the building. The truck doesn't just get out of the way. The car continues at the same speed, simulating the free fall speed the towers came down. And instead, in reality, the large truck has absorbed the energy that the smaller car has hit it with, and basically just about stops in its tracks. Has either of these guys, has either NIST or Thomas Eager addressed conservation of momentum?
I'm not sure about Eager, but NIST does not, and that is the official government theory. And remember, NIST is not some sort of neutral scientific body. It's an agency of the Commerce Department, and therefore of the Bush-Cheney administration. So everything you said earlier about Bush science would apply here. They do not mention these terms. If you remember your high school or college physics, conservation of energy and conservation of momentum are two of the basic laws of elementary